So, Beerus, the God of Destruction of Universe 7, is still the strongest. The Beerus deniers are in the absolute mud. There is a famous meme in the anime community, and even beyond that really, is can he beat Goku though? Every time a new powerful character comes along, the response is, can he beat Goku though? I think we should start looking at changing that to, can he beat Beerus though? Any new character that comes along now in the Dragon Ball Super series is going to be met with, can he beat Beerus though? It's been hard work for a lot of people to accept this, but a lot more people are coming to the conclusion that he has been the strongest all along. Some people believe he is a moving, and I'm putting heavy emphasis on the word moving, goalpost. Now, I agree that he is a goalpost, but I'm going to tell you in this video why he is the strongest, but he's not a moving goalpost. Emphasis on the word moving again. So what we're going to go over is the pretext that's basically had Beerus as the strongest all along. People just don't want to acknowledge it, but people are becoming more cognizant of it, and I'm trying to spread that awareness. We will go through where Beerus might lie in terms of his overall power. There are a few hints, but nothing completely concrete as to where Beerus's goalpost may lie, and we're also going to go through why that goalpost is not moving, it just was never set, and also go over what the different types of power Gods of Destructions have that enable them to be at the top of their game, and how a lot of new information that has come out in the series actually supports that the series simply isn't using Dragon Ball Z type scaling anymore. That isn't a bad thing, it has actually evolved in, I would say, a more positive way. People and fans of the series need to evolve with it. I'm going to lay it all out in this video, and people, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Of course, this is opening up dialectic. Each person's argument forges pertinent questions that need to be delved into and explored. So make sure your thoughts are known down in the comment section. I do read them, I do take them into account, and I do address these questions in future videos. So why is Beerus the strongest? Well, we'll start at the very end. Recently, a V-Jump magazine article came out stating that Black Frieza is close to a God of Destruction. That God of Destruction is Beerus. Contextually, it can only really be Beerus in any other God of Destruction that aligns with him. That particular article also addresses the realm of the gods, which is a range of power that goes from the weaker tier Gods of Destruction to the higher tier Gods of Destruction. I've often talked about a God of Destruction league table and where mortals may fit into it. Multiple characters have moved into the realm of God of Destruction level power. Jiren was the first to truly break into that in terms of characters that entered the series, and other characters have gone beyond that since. Now, there's no definitive league ranking for where each God of Destruction truly fits, but based on the information we seem to have so far, Belmod, the God of Destruction of Universe 11, is probably one of the lower tier Gods of Destructions. That's who Jiren surpassed and found himself in the realm of Gods of Destructions. So you could say that Jiren was lower down on that league table. Don't worry, Jirenettes. Given a hypothetical current Jiren has likely been inspired by Goku, etc., he's probably closer to the top of that table now, if not surpassed it. In fact, I would say the next time we see Jiren, there's a high probability that he has truly gone past the God of Destruction realm of power. Obviously, we know Ultra Instinct Goku from the Tournament of Power matched that Tournament of Power Jiren, and Goku has gotten stronger ever since, likely climbing that league table. Beerus, however, is likely at the top of that table, alongside Katella, based on his performance in the Zen Exhibition match and a lot of statements surrounding Beerus. But, you know, I've been saying on this channel for a long time, the God of Destruction realm of power is a vast amount of power. It isn't just about their raw power reserves, though, and I will get into that very soon. It isn't necessarily close between the high tier Gods of Destructions and the low tier Gods of Destructions. Everybody that thought they were all at the same level, I've been trying to tell you guys that this hasn't been the case for a while. But given the amount that Goku and Vegeta have gotten stronger, Vegeta's even got his own Ultra Ego transformation now that he used against Granola that surpassed Ultra Instinct Goku. And even then he still stated that it wasn't enough to get to the small glimpse of power that Beerus showed him only a few chapters before. And that was only a small glimpse of Beerus's power. We do know that Gas was too strong for both of those two as well. Gas got one-shotted by Black Frieza. Black Frieza then one-shotted Goku and Vegeta at the same damn time. And yet, according to Jump, which is a major player in the Dragon Ball franchise, he is only close to a God of Destruction, that being Beerus. So I might make this another video, but I'm actually thinking more about how would Frieza fare against the likes of Champa. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. However, what I do think it is important to note is it does say that Black Frieza is close. Even though that term's been used before in the Broly movie material, that was actually referring to the realm of gods of destructions. This is referring to a god of destruction contextually. Look, and you can raise questions about this coming from V-Jump, but as I keep saying, V-Jump is a major player in the Dragon Ball franchise, ran by Shueisha, likely know what they're talking about, and they haven't just put this out for no reason. I'm not saying you can't be skeptical or it be disputed, but as it stands right now, based on all the source material, this is the story we're being told, and it seems to all be leading to the same conclusion. So basically, because of the anime and their depiction of the Tournament of Power, they framed it in a certain way where it was very ambiguous as to whether Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren surpassed Beerus. Now, I've talked about this a lot in videos before. This video that I'm doing now isn't ultimately about the anime, so I do want us to just place that aside, but it's important to reflect on the fact that it's because of the events in the anime that led a lot of people to believe Beerus had been surpassed. In the manga, those statements that make it so ambiguous just simply don't exist. So let's just look at a few bits of information that we've got from the manga that really suggests that these characters, Goku and Vegeta, have not really got anywhere close to Beerus in terms of raw power. So the first major instance is Zamasu. Zamasu tells us that Beerus is the most dangerous god of destruction. In terms of what dangerous could mean, well, it can only really mean one thing, because gods of destructions are known for their power. Beerus isn't portrayed as a character with high level wit or something like that, so he is referring to Beerus' power and why he is the most trickiest. In the same arc, Beerus was compared to a blue fusion, and just a caveat, I'm really strictly talking about raw power reserves here, not the whole package that we'll get onto later. Now, fusion in Dragon Ball Super typically has the base fusion stronger than the two fusees at their most powerful. Base Vegito was just as strong as Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta at those times, if not stronger. Then he can stack Super Saiyan Blue on top. Super Saiyan Blue is a massive multiplier and amp in power. So to put it simply, complete Super Saiyan Blue Goku isn't even remotely close to Beerus in terms of raw power. Now, going into the Tournament of Power in the manga, it was vastly different from the anime. Goku didn't train, in fact he got rusty if anything before entering the Tournament of Power. He was even caught up to by Vegeta, and they were basically on par with each other in their complete Super Saiyan Blue forms. Now, that very same Vegeta is literally the one that faced off against Beerus, who was stated to not be serious by Whis, and Beerus still stated that Vegeta would have to train another million years to reach his level. Now, he may have been exaggerating, but it's still a huge gap that Beerus is implying there. He even goes on to reference how this version of Vegeta, based off Vegeta's power, could be a God of Destruction candidate in another universe, but not this one. And he's really only going off his power level and his fighting ability. We know that Toppo is the God of Destruction candidate for Universe 11, and we know that Vegeta in complete Super Saiyan Blue is a rival to Toppo. Given that Beerus is using power as his barometer to come to this conclusion, that suggests that the gap between Toppo and Belmod is a lot closer than that of Vegeta with complete Super Saiyan Blue and Beerus. Then of course we got the Zen Exhibition match, where Beerus was on multiple occasions implied to be the strongest one there. Not only due to his performance in that Zen Exhibition match, where he dodged all 11 Gods of Destructions, blitzed them, actually let himself get caught as bait. He allowed himself to get caught by Moscow just to break free with sheer power and then launch a counterattack on all the Gods of Destructions. Guys, if you don't believe me, just go and read the chapter again and you'll see that's literally what happened. He then, of course, then outlasted all the other Gods of Destructions and was left with mainly Catella, who stated that he expected Beerus to be the last one standing. Now, one of the things that I think led a lot of people to really start questioning whether Beerus had been surpassed was when Beerus suggested he could lend a hand against Planet Morrow. Ultra Instinct Goku was unable to defeat Planet Morrow as he was at that particular time, and Beerus was about to intercept. A lot of debate happened about whether he was just going to do a 2-on-1 against Planet Morrow or do it on his own, but he was still considered strong enough to be able to compete against Planet Morrow, a character that had vastly surpassed Tournament of Power Ultra Instinct Goku. Of course, we then get Beerus completely squashing Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, beginning at the Granola arc, showing Vegeta a glimpse of his power, a small glimpse of his power that encouraged Vegeta to believe that taking the God of Destruction Hakai route would allow him to surpass Ultra Instinct Goku, who had only gotten even stronger since he fought Moro. Vegeta literally states, "How can I acquire that power?" after Beerus' display. Vegeta then attains Ultra Ego, which allows him to use Hakai to a high degree, surpassing Ultra Instinct Goku against Granola, only to then state, "I couldn't reach that level of power," referring to Beerus. Obviously, this version of Ultra Ego Vegeta continues to get stronger after fighting against Gas, yet Black Frieza still squashes Ultra Ego Vegeta. V-Jump's statement that Beerus is stronger than Frieza only corroborates with Vegeta's statement in Chapter 75 concerning him not being able to reach Beerus' level of power. So as you can see, Beerus has been consistently portrayed to be massively above them. Now, if you were to power scale in a traditional sense, there's many times you could state, well, you could at least place this character at this certain level and Beerus here, and therefore they're stronger than Beerus. But what you're conflating is your power scaling ideology with how Toyotaro and Toriyama are writing the series. They do not care about Western power scaling ideologies. In fact, even so, the pretext has been laid out that the prophecy is that Goku and Vegeta will rival Beerus one day. That is the whole narrative arc of the Dragon Ball Super story. The Oracle Fish has never been shown to be wrong. Beerus is still not shown to have been surpassed, at least in terms of the overall package. Like I keep saying, the pretext is there, which allows you to understand the subtext of new information, that allows you to evaluate what we've read and come to the right context. Now, the idea that Goku and Vegeta are trying to catch up to Beerus and that the series will eventually conclude with them rivaling Beerus goes against the concept that Beerus is behind the scenes training and just staying really far ahead of them. If Beerus can get stronger at a faster rate than the Saiyans, they are simply never going to catch him. This doesn't necessarily mean that Beerus doesn't train at all, but I don't think the training is leading to him extending his lead over them each time he trains, especially when there's enough evidence to suggest that he's just that far ahead of them anyway. What's more is, as we've seen since the inception of Black Frieza, Beerus' response to it was to just sleep for 4 months. Now, I have made a wacky theory that Beerus could get stronger by sleeping, which would be very Toriyama, but there's no implication that that's the case at all. He simply isn't threatened by Frieza's existence. And of course, just because he's sleeping doesn't mean he's not training in preparation for it either, but in terms of the information and the given circumstances we have, it doesn't appear that it's going down that route yet. So to address the moving goalpost issue, as I stated at the early parts of this video, Beerus is not a moving goalpost. I'll say it for one last time, a heavy emphasis on moving. He is a goalpost, as laid out in the prophecy by the Oracle Fish that Goku and Vegeta will one day rival Beerus. Now, some of you will point out, and rightly so, that Beerus has been compared to certain characters that give you an idea of where his power lies, even though there's still a little bit of conjecture around it, but that is the level of Blue Fusion. He was compared to Vegito Blue in the Future Trunks arc, that was corroborated by V-Jump, and then of course he was compared to Broly in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and Broly was competing against a Blue Fusion. As I talked about earlier, Blue Fusion is literally completed Super Saiyan Blue level from the Future Trunks arc multiplied by another Super Saiyan Blue level fusion. That raw power difference is massive. You need to question whether you think these characters have closed that gap enough to that degree over the next few arcs in the space of a few years. As Beerus stated, it would take millions of years on his evaluation for Vegeta to close that type of gap. And I have seen a few comments stating that Goku hasn't seen Beerus at full power. Yes, he has. In the Zen Exhibition match, Goku was literally observing the entire Battle Royale and literally noted that Beerus was going all out. Now, whilst more people seem to be open and cognizant of the idea that Broly just was that powerful, there are indications that Broly was surpassed in the Moro arc and the Granola arc. So it is definitely something that needs to be discussed. However, I don't know why people have such a problem with Blue Fusion in terms of raw power being at the level of Beerus, considering how powerful it is and given the consistency of the sources suggesting that this is the case. Which leads me on to the final part about this video, and even if a Blue Fusion was at Beerus' level, they would still lose. Now, I'm talking strictly in terms of raw power reserves, and I'm not even including the fusion timer limit, which would obviously be a huge issue for them. Beerus isn't just about raw power, and the series has been going this way for a while. As we saw with the superhero movie in the comments on Jiren, an explanation with his power was his absolute efficiency with his power. This has led Vegeta to take this means of training in order to increase his overall ability. So let's say you have two characters, character A and character B. Both have a power of 100. However, character A can only use about 60% of that power efficiently, whereas character B can use 95% of that power efficiently. Who do you think is going to win? Okay, so let's now say character A has a power reserve of 100 still, but character B has a power reserve of 90. However, character A can still only use 60% of that power efficiently, whereas character B can still use 95% of that power efficiently. If character B can make it a battle of attrition, who do you think is going to win that fight? By all means, guys, answer these questions down in the comment section. I would love to know your thoughts. Case in point is the series is moving away from just a character being stronger guaranteeing the victory, especially when you start to get to characters that are actually at similar if not relative power levels. There are abilities that characters have that are great equalizers. You could say Jiren had ultra efficiency, even though that's never been stated in the series, but that leads to the ultra transformations. Ultra instinct and mastery of self movement is a great equalizer against an opponent with a similar level, but it will give you the advantage due to the speed hacks, the dodge hacks, and the critical hit hacks that you will get with Ultra Instincts. Also with Ultra Ego and Hakai. By taking damage, it actually makes you stronger and gives you a better attacking potency against an opponent that has a similar level. So let's take this back to Beerus. Beerus has one of the highest power reserves in the series. There's only potentially a few characters that may have reached that level of power reserves, and that might be Broly. Frieza's close, but Beerus also likely has a very high efficiency level like Jiren. He has a degree of Ultra Instinct, not as good as Goku's Ultra Instinct. I think that's where Toei got it wrong. Goku surpassed Beerus in terms of the application of Ultra Instincts, and Beerus also has Hakai to a much greater degree than even Vegeta. Even though this isn't completely new in Dragon Ball, the series is going more in the direction of techniques, amping characters in battle to gain an advantage. We've seen this before with key techniques such as the Kamehameha, Final Flash, etc., but now it's becoming more about martial arts ability and amping power that way. Beerus has all these at disposal, quite possibly more, but obviously that's conjecture at the moment. But as you can see, this is a package of abilities that Beerus has. This is why, even if Broly was at his level in terms of raw power, even if Blue Fusion's at his level in terms of raw power, Beerus would win, due to them not having these extra abilities that Beerus has. In chapter 27, Beerus literally tells us that it isn't just power that's going to allow Vegeta to catch up to him. He calls Super Saiyan Blue a mere power up onto Super Saiyan God. Beerus, however, is not limitless in terms of his power. He can just grow limitlessly during a battle. That's an important point to mention. If he had limitless power at his disposal, then he wouldn't be getting dicked on by the likes of Whis. It wouldn't be possible for him to get stronger if he was already at a limitless power level, and the narrative that he would eventually get surpassed is ultimately void. What he means by when he says limitless is, as we've seen with Vegeta, during battle, these techniques can then amp his power from there, but that does not mean he doesn't have a base stat going into that battle, and that is the level that Goku and Vegeta are trying to rival as per the Oracle Fish's prophecy. However, Beerus doesn't just have that enormous reserve of raw power, he has godly techniques, probably more than we even know of. As we saw in the God of Destruction Zeno exhibition match, they all seem to have their own unique abilities that amp their power and can serve as equalizers. Even in Jiren's comparison to Belmod in the manga, it is quite specific on what Jiren has surpassed Belmod in. It doesn't necessarily mean the whole package. All of this is consistent and is basically showing us that this series isn't just about having a higher raw power anymore. As I keep saying, Beerus is the One Piece of the Dragon Ball Super series. That's what they're aiming for, and they'll eventually get to it, but it'll be right at the end. And given that Black Frieza is now close to that power and likely potentially has abilities that can amp his power as well, then I believe that could actually be sooner than we think, potentially the next arc or next saga, depending on how long it is, but I think it will conclude before the end of Z initially happened, and then they'll move on to something else. Anyway, that's all for today. Can they beat Beerus though is the question. Smash a like on the video if you think Beerus is the strongest. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down in the comment section and anything you would like me to address in future videos. Until next time, Ad Astra.